English or Deutsch, ist mir egal. I'm speaking English now. Well, I think.
Nein, Deutsch.
Deutsch, bitte. Um beispielsweise tatsächlich einen Start zu machen, damit Menschen in gewaltfreien Widerstand aufeinander zugehen, müsste man bei den Kindern anfangen. Das heißt, es muss angefangen werden von der Politik her, von der ganzen Gesellschaft her, dass die Kinder von vornherein gewaltfreie Kommunikation, gewaltfreien Widerstand, gewaltfreies aufeinander zugehen, eine Möglichkeit zu finden, sich auch Kritiken dazu sagen, ohne einander nicht zu tun. Das heißt, wie macht man das, dass man den Menschen klar macht, man kann Hass nicht mit Hass aus der Welt schaffen. Das gibt es nicht. Also wir müssen endlich mal versuchen, eine Basis zu finden. Und das fängt mit Kindern an und mit den Erwachsenen, die praktisch diejenigen sind, die als Vorbilder für die Kinder dienen. Und das muss endlich mal von Grund auf gemacht werden. Welche Möglichkeiten?
Palästinenser zu ihrem Recht zu kommen.
Ja.
Wenn man immer so sagt, lieb und nett und so weiter, dann machen wir alles dafür.
Yeah, I obviously agree that the youth is the key. In fact, when I looked at the history of our uprisings, the young people were the ones who started all the uprisings we have had. The young people were the key to starting the uprisings also in Egypt and Tunisia. So clearly those are the people who have idealism and that are ready to do something and change the world that they live in. And so always young people are key to transformation of society. I think actually we, the adults, should not presume that we know everything and try to educate, so to speak, the young people. I think more importantly, perhaps we should shield the young people from the politicians and others who try to co-opt the revolutions as is trying, now to happen in Egypt and other places. And even in Palestine, unfortunately, I don't want to paint a very rosy picture, but the uprising of 1987, for example, was ended prematurely and was destroyed pretty much by the politicians, the adults, the big guys. And we have to really understand that once the youth start movement, our job is to protect them and shield them from interference from outside. And this is, I think, a more important thing than presuming that we know what's best for them. I think they are smart enough, and in the age of the internet, they actually have a lot more information than we think they have.
Ich glaube, dass die Jugend eher sehr viel mehr Idealismus hat als die Erwachsenen, und wir haben erlebt, dass die meisten Aufstände, die in Palästina, aber auch in Ägypten, in Tunesien, die meisten Aufstände wurden ja von der jungen Generation initiiert und nicht von den Erwachsenen. Es ist ja viel eher so, dass wir die Jugendlichen eigentlich vor dem Einfluss der Erwachsenen abschirmen sollten, und die sollten sie davor schützen, denn beispielsweise in Palästina 1987, die erste Intifada wurde viel zu früh beendet, und sie wurde deswegen beendet, weil die Großen, die Erwachsenen, die Mächtigen, damals auf palästinensischer Seite, diesen Aufstand zu früh beendet haben. Insofern, um die Aktionen, die Idealismen der jungen Leute zu schützen, sollten wir eher dafür sorgen, dass sie ungestört von den Erwachsenen agieren können. Es ist von daher eine unserer Aufgaben. Ich denke, dass das wir sollten auch immer bedenken, dass die jungen Menschen sehr viel mehr wissen, gerade im Zeitalter des Internet, dass sie sehr viel vernünftiger sind und gescheiter und mehr Wissen haben, als wir ihnen normalerweise zumuten oder zutrauen. Also Musik hat noch nicht begonnen, insofern gibt es immer noch Möglichkeit für Fragen. Wie bitte?
Weil keine lassen es auch.
Okay, we can dance.
bin ein Palästinenser, stamme aus dem Gazastreifen und ich bin sehr überzeugt von der Idee von einem gewaltfreien Widerstand. Aber ich glaube, es ist nicht so einfach, weil ich habe so viele Freunde und Verwandte verloren. Und ich denke, wenn ich jemanden verloren habe, der auf einem friedlichen Marsch war, war es immer schmerzhafter gewesen, als jemanden zu verlieren, der in eine Schlacht gefallen ist. Ich weiß nicht, ob man das üben kann, das so zu akzeptieren, auch wirklich zu fallen und Schmerz zu verkraften. Haben Sie einen Ratschlag?
Yeah, I think it's important to realize that both armed resistance and non-violent or popular resistance, I personally prefer popular resistance, of course, because non-violent resistance appears like a negative term, and even Mahatma Gandhi did not call it non-violent resistance. He called it with terms like satyagraha and ahimsa, which are much more involved and aggressive, basically, forms of resistance. So both forms, armed resistance and popular unarmed resistance, entail danger, of course. And in fact, an armed person has a weapon to sometimes shoot back with, whereas an unarmed person, all we have is our bodies. So clearly, the occupiers can shoot either way. And clearly when we lose people, and I have lost many, many friends. I mean, just in the past year, for example, I lost 4 very close friends, including a brother and a sister, Basim Abu Rahma and Jawahir Abu Rahma, who were close friends of mine before they were killed in Bil'in, in nonviolent resistance. So, of course, this is very painful. And of course, one is tempted sometimes, and I can tell you humans are tempted sometimes to seek revenge. But I assure you that every time I think about it deeper, I realize that we are in a much more morally superior position. And when we sit down, when I stand and talk with Israeli soldiers, and argue with them, and I tell them they are behaving like Nazis sometimes. I'm very aggressive in my language. You can see me on YouTube if you want, argue with soldiers and say, you're behaving like Nazi soldiers. You know, why do you do this? Don't you have shame on yourself? And things like that. To me, I am much stronger than they are. They carry the weapons and everything, but I'm much stronger. Why am I much stronger? Because what more can they do to me? They can't do a lot. You know, maximum they can do is shoot me. They lose either case. So to me, it is not the issue of, you know, what is it that we want? We want to liberate Palestine. To me, that's number one. I want the refugees to return. I want to liberate Palestine. As to what happens to Israeli soldiers, even the ones who committed crime, to me that's secondary issues. They are not the ones that... and I was influenced in this mostly when I watched the videos of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa. In South Africa, you saw these images of an African white policeman, now not a policeman of course, but sitting and crying in front of a black man and telling him, I'm really, really sorry, I killed your son, and I admit I killed your son, and it was a horrible thing, and you can put me in jail for the rest of my life, and I deserve it, and you can do everything you want to me, but I want you to know I'm really, really sorry. And he's crying. To me, this shows that there is humanity, there's common humanity, even when before end of apartheid, there was extreme inhumanity. I mean, these white police officers would shoot young black children, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, point blank like that, and just walk away. This was the brutality that they engaged in. But it shows that after all, we are all humans, and we can eventually reconnect as humans. But of course, the number one, we have to liberate ourselves. We have to free our own minds. In the civil rights movement in North America, in the South, in the United States, the black civil rights leaders and activists used to have a saying, free your mind and your ass will follow. and it literally is important that we free our mind. If we feel occupied, of course we are occupied. But if we feel liberated, doesn't matter. You know, they can tap my hand. They can see still the marks on my hand from last week. But I felt more free than those Israeli soldiers because they are in their minds much more in prison than I am, because they don't know what to do. They're with these guns and they're actually afraid of me. So I think this is where I think, you know, moral clarity and a decision for us to move forward, very strong, very aggressive. I'm not a pacifist, okay? I am also for economic sabotage, and maybe the Zais will now arrest me if hearing me saying this. But I am for very aggressive popular resistance, and there are, according to American author Gene Sharp, 198 forms of nonviolent popular resistance. But actually, we, the Palestinians, not only use these 198 forms, but we can give Gene Sharp another list of 50 or 100 more. You know?